Hello, how's it going, everyone? How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? Oh man, it has been a week. It has been quite a week. Oh man, I can't wait until September arrives. Also because it's really close to October. We're only one more month away, 1 month and a day away from October. So that's how I'm going to be conceptualizing this upcoming September season. Is by looking at all this and being like, oh man, how long until October? But the good news is that it is going to be a Wednesday. Oh no, not Wednesday. It's going to be Labor Day soon. It's not going to be Wednesday soon. I'm not trying to scare anybody. Let's see. I'm curious. Oh, who's this dude? So big for Paul Ashton from Ace Attorney 6, but I haven't played Ace Attorney 6. Which one is this? This is a very. I like this haircut. Like, which one is this? Is this one of like the 3DS ones? I guess. Mm, where are you at? Spirit of Justice. Oh yeah, this is a 3DS one. Yes. Man, it's gonna be exciting. I think that was it called. Maybe it might be bundled with that one that's gonna like come out soon. I know the Capcom reveal was gonna be sometime soon, but I feel like everyone is just kind of like trying to ignore it because they're trying to manifest like the DLC for Resident Evil 4. But I know that they have it in mind, like the Apollo Justice ones. Obnoxious and twinkish, yeah. I'm noticing the I guess sort of like a little both, a little column A, a little column B. I feel like the little top knot and like the sort of almost like the little eyelashes have that almost kind of kabuki look to it. So it has that sort of like femme kind of look to it, but also just kind of like the sort of like obnoxious dickbag politician look that you see in like characters like the student council president from Persona 3, where that dude looks like the stereotypical like I forget what his name is. It's like Hanegawa or something like that. Hideyoshi. Yeah, Hideyoshi. He looks like the pretty much like the anime equivalent of like the kid from like Recess, who's like the little snitch. But he also just kind of looks like what's it called? A 17-year-old version of like a 50-year-old. Or like if like a 50-year-old was Benjamin Buttons into like a 17-year-old child. Yeah. I don't have too much to mention because what's it called? At most, I was thinking of making like a huge announcement about moving on to like I guess giving Final Fantasy 14 a shot. I wanted to see what it's like. I know a lot of people are gushing about it. I really like 16, which has like a lot of elements from 14 in it, so it has me really looking forward to that. Oh yeah, I what's it called? I had to go on Tumblr because I heard that there was a what's it called? The One Piece like I guess like Netflix thing ended up causing there to be like a pop up where like if you go on the desktop like you just see like almost like this like really blurry fucked up image of like live action Buggy, and it's like the funniest shit to me. I feel like I'm gonna need to try to find a way to keep him on there because he's like a fun little Bonzi buddy, but like a completely obnoxious like really silly looking clown guy. Yeah, I'm gonna get this show on the road because what was it called? I'm really looking forward to diving into chapter 5, or at least a little bit more of chapter 5, because what I'm seeing is that when we were coming up soon, or when we were coming up like eventually, like around the time I left, like it seemed like they were gonna bring in that dude. They were gonna bring in Mr. Benedict. Let's see. It was 821. Yes. There we go. Let me make some last minute adjustments. I'm just trying to make sense of this. Sometimes I do clips and like I barely show up on this side. But what's it called? It's always funny to do little clips and then realize like, oh man, like I really do a lot of shit post stuff when it comes to like what's it called? All of the Van Zeek's like reactions of him like throwing the wine bottle and like getting really like almost kind of like taking the court too seriously and being like, yes, this is a death sentence. I'm going to kill you with words. And it's like, that's silly. You're so silly, Van Zeeks. Yeah. It is the 17th of April. We just got done with the first part of all this. Now let me get my shit together. Sorry, let me get some water. I made a mistake and made my voice all spotty because I was trying to practice like karaoke stuff just in case. Hey Gina, how you holding up? I'm starting to feel quite warmly towards your frequent cold shoulders now.
Ginny, are you alright? Why aren't you saying anything?
What's the point, eh? Why you gotta go through all this trouble and fight so hard for the likes of me?
What?
Oh, you saw it? The picture? What picture?
Ah, you mean this? The photograph taken by Hurley's red-handed recorder? Well, I didn't think it would have captured a scene like this, that's for sure.
It's hopeless. Anyone who sees it's gonna think I did it, ain't they? Well, I won't pretend it wasn't a bit of a shock when the prosecution first presented it. Surely you gotta have your doubts about me now. You can't still think I'm innocent. Of course I can.
Ginny, why don't you talk to us? Tell us what's really happened that night.
I made a list of things I sin for bag and just discovered, yeah, my taste hasn't gotten better, it's gotten worse. Everything kind of almost like compares and contrasts to the other, but there's a lot more comparisons than contrasting, as extreme as it might get.
Runa's clearly managed to piece together a lot of new information, but still, we'd really like to hear it from you.
Alright then. It was after we had that dinner together at your place, right, Iris? And after we had a chat up in your office, didn't we? Yes, I remember. After that, I just couldn't get sleep. So I slipped out and went on the street 2-1, the Winterbank's place. I had to know if Iris' story was there or not. Hounds of the Baskervilles. I didn't know what it's about or nothing, but if you ask me, there's something that Sholmes don't like. So that's why I had Iris to sticking around with Lugwood the Winterbank for safekeeping. At least, that's what I thought at the time. So you broke into Winterbanks? I just had to know if they was there or not. I mean, I had no idea all of it was going to kick off, did I? Struck the lock and stuck inside. It's dark as you like in there. So I gave the oil lamp in the counter a bit of wick. And that's when... What do you think you're doing? I nearly died, I did. Next thing I knew, I grabbed the gun off the counter and I was waving it in the air like, I don't know what. Ah, you're the girl who was in here this afternoon. I didn't think the pickpockets went in for armed robbery. The manuscript. Have you got it there? Did Sholmes leave a load of did Sholmes leave a load of papers with you? A story? I beg your pardon? The Hound of the something or other? Is it there? I want to see it. I'm sorry, young lady, but I'd sooner die than relinquish an article belonging to one of my customers. I don't want it. What would I do with it anyway? I just want to see if it's here, that's all. Oh, you want to see it, do you? I want to know if Sholmes really pawned it here or not. Please, just let me see it and I'll go. Oh, very well then. But for pity's sake, stop waving that gun around, would you? So then the old cove unlocked the storeroom door. We both went inside. And it was there, alright. The metal script. Sholmes weren't lying after all.
You did all that just to check for me, Ginny?
Anyway, then there was a bit of a kick-up out in the main bit of the shop. The Skulkin brothers arrived on the scene, yes? Oh, the Skulkin brothers arrived on the scene, yes? What's that noise? Someone's breaking in. Dear me. Is there some burglars convention here tonight I don't know about? I think I forgot to shut the door behind me. Sorry. I better go and take care of it. Could I possibly have my gun back? Oh, well, I'll come with you and... Now don't be foolish, young girl. You must stay right here. Don't leave this room under any circumstances. And with that, he took the gun out of my hands and walked back out into the shop. I hung back in the storeroom, like you said, straining my ears in the dark to hear what was going on. It sounded like they got in a bit of a scrap. Started to think I should help, see? So I was just about to go out in the storeroom myself when... I heard a couple shots go off. 2, I think. Almost at the same time. And then there he was, lying at me feet. Lying face down on the floor. I was right next to the storeroom door, so I slammed it shut and locked it as quick as I like. Because you thought whoever had shot Mr. Windbank might come for you? Yeah. So I went and grabbed the old cove's gun. I figured I'd put up a fight at least. When I got the better look at him, I knew. Winterbeck was a goner. I felt funny in my head all of a sudden, kinda dizzy. And after that, I don't remember nothing. And that must be when you passed out, Gina. If I hadn't done what I'd done, the old cove might still be alive. Did you tell the police everything you just told us? Of course I did. They didn't believe a word of it, did they? All they said was if I kept telling lies, it'd make things even worse for me.
It'll be alright, Ginny. Don't worry. Just stay strong a little longer. Bruno's about to put the real culprit through the mill.
That cove, what was there in the afternoon? Eggy Benedikt. I still remembered how he looked at me, like I was nothing. He was there that night. We don't know his real name yet, but I'm convinced that he's involved somehow. Anyway, thank you for telling us what happened, Gina. I appreciate your honesty.
You what?
I'm gonna break my spine with his heel. Oh man. That's extreme. But I imagine that he's breaking a few spines before.
You what? You can leave it all to Runa's capable hands now, Ginny.
Mr. Naruto?
Yes?
How come you trust me? I don't get it. Well, I mean, have you forgotten what happened here before? Come on. Only 2 months ago. Me and Mr. McGill did. Told you a whole pack of lies. And you got him off with him. Huh? That scene showed up, I actually got panned because I wanted him to call him a worthless peasant, which, no warning, just pan, ouch. I'm so sorry. No, I could never forget that.
Oh.
I did what it was best at the time. But the pain of that error of judgment doesn't get any even easier to bear. Still, don't forget that I also made you a promise. I told you I'd be on your side to the bitter end, no matter what. But what if I'm lying? You could be working to get another kill off the hook for all you know. I missed your reaction to the big buffer. Oh no, it's... Oh, what's it called? I was just like, oh man, I feel bad that like they just kind of like made that snap judgment and just kind of like got you off there. Sorry about that. I was once in your position, Gina. I was the accused in a trial.
You were?
Before I left Japan, I was accused of murder. And strange as it might sound, the circumstances of the crime were pretty damning. I was sure that no one would believe it wasn't me who'd done it.
Oh, Runho.
There's one person who stood up for me. One who believed in me, and was prepared to defend me. My best friend. That big hunk of merm. Asogi. Ryunosuke. No one believes you more than I do. Leave this to me. All you need to do is put your faith in me, and I'll do the rest. I was so happy, I cried. But even then, somewhere inside me, I couldn't help thinking. Surely he doesn't really believe in me. Not completely. But I was wrong. Not the business. Judging. Limits. Someone encouraged me. I don't get the negative reaction. It's pretty much just simping. Yeah, I feel like that was a called. If you're really enthusiastic about a character and really excited about them, like, I feel like it's something where it's hard to kind of like, I guess kind of like hold back or keep your limitations as far as like what you can and what you I guess should and shouldn't say. Like, I think it's just something where it's really difficult to be able to hold back a lot of it, especially if it's a character you find attractive. Like, I feel like with Asogi here, like, it's hard not to kind of dip into it and be like, oh yeah, look at him. Just look at the look in Ryunosuke's eyes. Just the captivation, the charm, the mystique. Like, it makes me really gushy. As soon as my trial began, it was obvious. That he had an absolute, unwavering belief in me. And in turn, I developed an absolute, unwavering belief in him. Oh man. They're really laying it on thick. Just as I looked up to him, I saw him, his confidence, his chiseled chin, his dashing eyes. I was so captivated. I couldn't stand it. Since then, I came to realize, if you want someone to believe in you, you have to believe in the other person first. What you saying? I promise you, Gina, no matter what happens, I'll keep believing in you. So you don't need to worry. I won't let you down. Even though I'm a diver and a no-good liar. You're not like McGill did. I know that.
That's right. You're our friend, Ginny.
Iris. We know you better than you think. And we've come to the conclusion you're someone we can trust.
Yes,
That's really all we need to know.
exactly.
Mr. Narada, I...
Benedikta Lestrade and her legal representative. Court proceedings are about to resume. Please head into the courtroom immediately.
Yes, of course. Thank you. I've been both a defendant and a defending lawyer in my time. So I only knew too well just how hard it was to put all your faith in another. And I also knew just how hard it was to bear the burden of another putting all their faith into you. This is it at last. The final chapter. The final battle. Until the next game. Wish me luck, Susato-san. I hope you're watching over me too, partner. Holy shit. So I'm at the Old Bailey courtroom. Oh man, the Skulkins are there. I hereby call this court to order as we resume the trial of Miss Gina Lestrade. Lord Van Zeeks, have you successfully subpoenaed the witness? The subpoena was delivered to the communication station where the man works immediately, my lord. I peanut the guy very well. However, the heavy rain was delayed. The arrival of his carriage, it would seem. I see. You did not peanut him hard enough. Then let us turn our attention to Inspector Gregson for our entertainment. Take it away, old Greggy. Please. The glaring omission of the third bullet in your report is a serious fuck-up, Inspector.
Yes, I can only apologize, my lord.
And although the defense's chemical analysis of the blood at the scene makes for a compelling argument, I cannot permit such untried methods to be used as evidence in the courtroom.
It's a big mistake to cross Hurley and me. A big mistake. A very big mistake. I hope you don't look at your shoelaces, cause I'm gonna tie them up.
My lord, the subpoenaed witness has just arrived to the building.
Thank you, officer. Show him to the stand without delay. Mr. Eggert Benedikt. I didn't expect to be crossing paths with him again so soon, and certainly not like this. Oh man, the Skulkins and Eggy. And this is quite a room. This is quite a wacky cavalcade. Just a group of wonderful, like, crazy, like, characters. Thank you for complying with the court's subpoena at such short notice, sir. But of course, my lord. As an upstanding member of London society, it is my pleasure to oblige. Oh man. I feel like your fascination with like Mr. Benedict almost kind of like has me living vicariously through it. I'm like, damn, this dude's sharp. This dude looks pretty nice. Now kindly state your name and occupation for the record. Ashley Graydon, Communications Officer.
Mr. Graydon and I work both at the London Central Communication Station.
Now perhaps somebody would kindly explain what this is all about. You were apprised of the situation by the court officer on your way here, I presume. Yes, I was. Something to do with a murder that took place at the pawnbrokers on Baker Street. And some nonsense about me having been there on the night in question. That is the accusation, indeed. This really is beyond a joke, you know. Very well. Without further delay, the court will hear your testimony now, Mr. Graydon. You will respond to the accusations made against you under oath. Whee-whoop! Gladly, my lord. Gladly. Man, it's kind of a relief. I put on such a voice with all the other characters that, like, it kind of comes naturally to do the Ashley voice just because it's really posh. And very just kind of like, yes, of course. It's like, I don't have to put so much strain on my throat and stuff. Naturally, I have occasion to make use of pawnbrokering services from time to time. But are you seriously suggesting I colluded with these thugs to break into the place at the night of the murder? I have no intention of admitting to such outrageous accusations, even if certain parties here present claim that my blood was found at the scene. Some Scaramouche detective's homebrewed tincture can hardly be taken as seriously as serious evidence. Scaramouche. I still will not be able to pull you in Gaijin Impact. I must say I'm rather dismayed. For the highest court in the land to be swayed by a self-professed detective's toy. It was the will of the jury, and our great British justice system demands that the jury's will is upheld. Then it would seem we have the misfortune of a most inept assembly of jurors today. By golly! Yeah, he has almost kind of this like almost little mini frown going. How long am I expected to be detained here? If following the defense's cross-examination, your involvement in this matter has not been established, you will be free to leave immediately. Good. Then I shall be away in time for afternoon tea. Some small consolation at least. Let us not hold up Mr. Graydon any longer than necessary, counsel. Proceed with the cross-examination. So, we meet again, Mr. Eggert Benedict. Or is it Mr. Graydon? My apologies. You are? Ryunosuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer. We have met. If you say so, Ashley Graydon. Enchanté. So... I trust we can conclude this quickly. Oh man, look at these waves. But I'm not holding your flashy hat while we do. I'll give it back to you, but not before I give it a little sniff. You know, see what your shampoo's like. A little hint of ginger, some tea tree. How does it feel, Ryu? How does it feel to live my dream? Damn it! From time to time, suggesting I colluded. I have no intention of admitting. Drinks Earl Grey with a bit of milk, even though he doesn't like the taste, because that's what fancy high-class people drink. Oh man, Earl Grey is really nice. I usually like to drink it like plain, but some milk and sugar is really good. I guess it's something where he probably would keep up appearances, so he would probably drink more high class, like just sort of like kind of stuff like maybe like tea or like burgundy. Even if certain parties here, let me push this. Blood was found at the scene of the crime. There's no question of that. Mr. Shom's chemical analysis has positively identified the substance as such. But I am not the only human to have blood running through my veins, am I? How can you be so sure that the blood is mine? It could equally be the blood of these two miscreants. Every individual's blood has a slightly different composition, it seems. Mr. Shom's chemical is able to differentiate. Spare me the science lesson! Who is this Shom's character, anyways? Oh, I assumed all Londoners would know the name. He's a renowned detective. So even you are unable to bring yourself to say great detective. A great detective, you say? Now we're in the realm of fairy tales, are we? The Council of the Defense thinks a British courtroom is an appropriate place for fairy tales, does he? Doesn't like science. He doesn't like fairy tales either.
This is so unfair. The chemical test is based on solid science. Hurry and I know what we're doing.
The trouble is, unless the technique can be independently verified, we'll never get beyond this man's flashy stick waving. Granted, it's a very colorful alchemy. Perhaps it will make a good souvenir for your uneducated friends back home. Something riled him there, just for a moment. Mr. Graydon let his feathers get ruffled. He let his jimmies get rustled. He's mad. He big mad. It's like, Ashley, don't be racist. Don't lay it on thick that I'm from the East. But a souvenir is all it's good for. Let me press this again, because I feel like there was a prompt in there along the way. Gonna cross-examine. It's so surreal hearing this without me having to speak over it. I'm like, Oh, he actually responded. Hey. Excuse me. Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Skulkin? What? Me? No. The Mr. Skulkin next to you.
Right, I've had it up to here with this. How many times I gotta tell you?
Yes, I know. You're not Big Bruv Skulky. Mr. Nash Skulkin.
Huh? God blimey, Governor. You what?
Is it not the case where Mr. Graydon just spoke? A thought went through your mind? Would you care to share a thought with the court?
Huh? Me thoughts? I don't have none of them. It must have been him.
You what? Mr. Nash Skulkin, Answer the question, please. Enough of your silly hijinks. What went through your mind? What went through your mind when Mr. Graydon just spoke?
Nothing, honest, Gov. Nothing. I was just thinking, if we wave his arms around much more, it might open the wound again his own.
What wound?
Where he took the bullet, of course. It was only 2 days ago. It ain't gonna be healed up yet. So I was, well, you know, I was worried about him, and, oh, hell's bells!
Mr. Graydon, did you hear that? What? Your comrade is worried about you, it seems.
On account of your injured arm.
My lord. Yes, Mr. Graydon. I have no idea what these two wretches are talking about. Certainly, I shouldn't be expected to answer anything in relation to their mindless insinuations. We know that someone other than the victim was hit by a bullet in the scene of the crime 2 nights ago. And from the height of the bullet wound, that person was likely hit in the upper arm, or thereabouts. Perhaps you would allow the court official to examine your arm, sir. The left arm you're currently clasping with your right hand, as if in pain. No, I refuse. I suddenly turned to a court official. You have shown no evidence whatsoever that links me to these common thieves. Accordingly, I am not obligated to permit any such invasion of my privacy. As I've already said, I'm completely uninvolved in all of this. I've never had anything to do with a pawnbrokery where this fellow was killed whatsoever. I take offense to the insinuation that I was in any way involved. You claim to have nothing whatsoever to do with Mr. Windibank's pawnbrokery. My lord, the defense would like that last statement to be added to Graydon's formal testimony. Very well, counsel. Man, Ashy Slashy's getting anky wanky. Ashy Washy. Sorry, it was like Ashy Slashy because it wasn't called. I watched like the Evil Dead TV show, and like any like male Ash or Ashley is just automatically like going to like make me think about like Ash Williams from like what was the Evil Dead TV show? It was like the one where like he goes back to his hometown and everyone keeps calling him Ashy Slashy and he hates it. It's gross, but it's fun. A simp? I've never had anything to do. Oh god. What's it called? Tea went down the wrong pipe. Alright, let's pursue this. Hold it! Never had anything to do with it? You forget that I was there, Mr. Graydon, on the very afternoon of the incident. Obviously, I'm not a complete stranger to the pawnbrokers. I'm currently on the lookout for an armchair to furnish my study. Objection. No, you were there to redeem an article. I have no idea what you're talking about. You seem to be interested in something. Excuse me. Do you have something to add, Inspector? You were there too, in fact, weren't you, Inspector? That afternoon. Well, yes. I do remember meeting yourself and the pawnbrokers that afternoon. You, your young Japanese assistant,
The accused were all present as far as I recall.
I have nothing to do with the pawnbroker. I saw you there. I never said I went to the pawnbroker. It's like I never said I don't know the pawnbrokery, even though I said I had nothing to do with it. Those are two contradictory statements. At the time, this witness, Mr. Graydon, was trying to acquire a particular article.
Well, now. I'm afraid I don't remember too clearly.
You arrested and chased after the dude. What? But you must.
I'm not gonna lie and pretend I remember something I don't.
What's going on here?
Gregsy showed us a picture before, didn't he? You know, the one from the cameras that Hurley installed at the Windibanks?
Yes, of course. Indeed. The gentleman pictured bears a striking resemblance to the witness, I must say. Exactly! Which proves that Mr. Graydon was in the shop in the afternoon in question. I didn't do it until you proved that I did it. Then that didn't happen this way. It never said it didn't do it, but I didn't. At no point have I denied that fact, even though I totally said that I had nothing to do with the pawnbrokery. I merely entered the shop to peruse the articles on sale and have a word with the broker. Who else is walking around in the pure white suit with cyan accents? It's him. It has to be. Nothing more. This makes no sense. I understand why Mr. Graydon might try to cover his tracks. But why would Gregson be trying to avoid giving testimony about what happened? That's all he's gonna say on the matter, isn't it?
What do you think, Bruno?
I think he has no intention of telling us anything. He's well aware that the less he says, the less chance he has of giving himself away.
Complete opposite of Hurley then. He seems to think that the more he says, the better.
The less I know, the better. Well, at least I managed to prize a little more information from these witnesses' lips. All thanks to the Skulkin brothers.
Yes, they were key to it after all.
So he says he had nothing to do with Windibanks. Well, we know that's not true.
Perhaps it would be a good time to have a proper look through the court record.
Good idea. You never know what tiny scrap of information could become a valuable weapon. Let's see. Bottom line, never had anything to do. But what about that one disc that you were trying to grab from that lady? Trying to analyze this. McGilded. For McGilded, that's the man you defended in court a couple months ago, isn't it? Yes, or rather mistakenly defended.
I wonder what his name's doing on the back of the disc.
That's a question I'd like to answer myself.
So this is blood, probably from someone's fingertips.
Well deduced, but not just someone's fingertip. Mr. Benedict's fingertip.
The man dressed in all white?
Yes. It happened that afternoon at Windibanks. Gina tried to snatch the disc out of the man's hands, and his sharp little bumps cut his thumb.
So the lesson here is if someone tries to grab a music box disc from you, quickly let it go.
The lesson is don't snatch things, surely. Alright, let's present this.
Objection!
Have you seen this disc before, Mr. Graydon? Why? Is it supposed to mean something? The disc was until the day of his murder in the pawn at the Windibank shop. It was redeemed by the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, that afternoon. However, Someone mysteriously tried to take it from her. And that someone was you, of course. Wasn't it, Mr. Graydon? As I have reiterated numerous times now, you are mistaken. That is not me. I've never seen that disc before in my life. It may have escaped your notice, but there is a small smear of blood on the disc. Ah yes, resulting from the abrasion of the thumb, perhaps. That's right. The surface of the disc is covered in hundreds of tiny bumps. In the skirmish to acquire the disc, the thumb of the person trying to take it suffered minor lacerations. So, while the disc bears the remnants of that skirmish in the form of the smear of blood, the thumb of the person in question must bear the remnants also, in the form of a scratch.
Good gracious, indeed it must.
Mr. Graydon, you refused to allow a court officer to examine your arm before. Are you now going to refuse to allow us to examine your thumb? Because I have no doubt it bears a small scratch consistent with the smear of blood on this disc. Well, well. It would seem I underestimated you.
What is the meaning of this?
So you admit it now. You admit to have a scratch on your thumb for when you attempted to take the disc from the defendant? Examine. Hold his hand longingly for a long amount of time. I get that.
Order. Well, Mr. Graydon.
It would appear there has been something of a misunderstanding here. I did not attempt to take the disc, as you put it. No, quite the reverse. What are you trying to say? It really is quite simple, you see. The disc was mine from the outset. Is there some crime in taking an item you own out of the pawn? What? It would seem, Mr. Graydon, that in this piece of evidence my learned friend has established a link between yourself and the incident. Accordingly, you will tell the court everything you know about this disc now. As you wish. Though I'm quite sure it has nothing to do with the pawnbroker's murder. There is a note on the disc saying former gilded, but the item belongs to me. The redemption ticket was stolen from me by the accused, that filthy gutterling, on the day in question. I proceeded at once to the shop in order to explain my situation and redeem my article. In the end, of course, the disc was taken to the police. In other words, I had absolutely no reason to break into the shop later that same night. I went to the armchair not to redeem anything. You tried to take something out of the pawn shop. I want to redeem stuff that's not a crime, and I didn't do anything wrong. I did absolutely everything that everyone says I did, but I totally didn't do everything that everyone said I did.
Did I hear you correct, sir? McGill, did you say? The famous London philanthropist? Who perished in the very courtroom 2 months ago after being acquitted of a distinctly messy murder.
Yes, my lord. The one and the same.
Good lord, Mr. Graydon. Are you saying that Mr. McGilded and yourself were acquainted?
Yes, that's correct.
Order.
Well, it didn't seem like there was a commotion.
Well, I certainly didn't expect to hear the name uttered in the courtroom again.
According to what Gina told us, this disc was placed in pawn on that fateful night 2 months ago. Playing Sudoku. McGilded himself gave instructions on the deposit to deposit at the Windibanks.
It's funny that Mr. Graydon here is claiming the disc belongs to him then, isn't it?
In all likelihood, he's lying. So he appeared that afternoon in the Windibanks in order to get his hands on McGilded's disc for some reason. This close to saying dick.
Counsel, you will commence your cross-examination, please.
There's a note. The redemption ticket was stolen. I proceeded at once to the shop. In the end, the disc was taken by the police. That's going to be the reason. That's going to be the reason why we have to... Why Gregson's lying. Or he's trying to cover. Yes, it was taken by Inspector Gregson here, wasn't it? That's right. This was the very man. Apparently, the police are collecting anything that has a connection to Mr. McGilded as evidence. He is not allowed to wear... He has no genitals. He is not allowed to have genitals. Mr. McGilded is not a sexual animal. He is not a sexual being. He is just a very jolly man that rips people off. He's very wealthy. Oh man, this dude... what is this?
Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Inspector?
What do you mean?
Someone told Mr. McGilded would fuck, and he wouldn't. He is not allowed. He's been officially banned from Sex and Sex 2. The DLC for Sex 1.
What do you mean?
The last remark Mr. Graydon made in his testimony seemed to trouble you in some way.
No, it didn't. It's nothing. Leave it alone.
Let me ask you this, Inspector. Why is Scotland Yard gathering Mr. McGilded's possessions?
I can tell you something like that, sunshine.
What is it, Inspector? Investigative secrets.
Yes, exactly. You should know all about that.
Magnus McGilded, who died so unexpectedly after his trial 2 months ago. A man renowned through the capital for his great contributions to public life. Yet he had a dark side too.
Where are you going with this, Van Zeeks?
I suppose the police are dealing with the aftermath of his nefarious activities, aren't they?
That's enough. Coppers like me have duties to carry out. We're not at liberty to talk about it. That's all you need to know.
Duties confirmed by Lord Strongheart, perhaps. The Court Chief Justice appears to have great faith in you, Inspector.
The bottom line is, if you want to get more out of me, you're gonna need Lord Strongheart's paw print first.
What's this all about? It's like there's something going on between Gregson and Lord Van Zeeks here.
Well, it would appear the inspector has revealed he is at the liberty to reveal. Mr. Graydon, let us return to your testimony.
Gladly, my lord. In other words, I have absolutely no reason to break into the pawn shop later that same night. Let's see about that. Let's see, what do we have here? Let's examine this. Mr. Windibank appears to have used the back of this photograph to write a redemption ticket. He's written it very neatly, but still, perhaps he ran out of paper. It's hard to know what's in the front and reverse sides now. That's a kitty. This is something that I was clicking in advance. Let's see, is there anything else here? Back. Identified as Mr. Mason's. Handwritten notes on the back. Oh, it's just this. Let's present this.
Objection.
The disc was deposited at Windibanks on Magnus McGilded's instructions. You knew that, and you went there with the intention of obtaining it for yourself.
Objection.
Conjecture again. And in any case, the disc was taken into custody by the police that afternoon. The witness had no reason to visit the pawnbrokery again that night.
Objection.
Sorry, my learned friend, but that's not true. What? Mr. McGilded had another article in pawn at Windibanks. As this, the second pawnbroker's ticket proves. Ugh. There are 2 articles belonging to Mr. McGilded in Windibanks pawnbrokery, and the reason you broke into the shop that night was to recover the second one. Together with your 2 accomplices, the Skulkin brothers. This is the second ticket, isn't it? What had that man deposited? The article description reads, 1 small box. A rather vague description, it seems to me. Are you suggesting I broke into the pawnbrokery with these clowns in order to steal some trinket box? I believe there are adequate grounds to suspect that you did. This is absurd. Why on earth would I do such a thing? Once the article has been forfeited, I could simply walk into the shop and purchase it. There would be absolutely no reason for me to resort to theft. That's a good point. Indeed. The witness makes a solid argument.
So that means for some reason, the Graydon fellow needed the small box that very night, doesn't it?
Objection.
It's time to put an end to this nonsense, my lord. Do be a little less cryptic, Lord Van Zeeks. I do hate to ruin my learned friend's argument, but the truth is quite incontrovertible. On the night in question, no small box was taken from Windibank's pawnbrokery. And rest assured the prosecution can prove it. Huh? Good gracious. Inspector, show the photographic print to the court, if you please. Yes, sir. What prints? These prints were taken from one of the detective's security cameras.
Early's red-handed recorders again.
As previously explained, using this print at the pawn shop layout. The victim's establishment was furnished with the automatic cameras in 2 locations. One was set to capture the counter where Mr. Windibank received his customers, and the other was set to capture the shelves on which the article were placed for sale once forfeited. According to information on the ticket, McGilder's small box had been forfeited already. 2 days before the incident, 9 p.m., 13th April to be precise. Which means it would have been on the shelves of forfeited items in the shop front. Now, what I've done here is a print taken by one of the cameras about 2 hours before the incident. That's 11 p.m. on the 15th of April. The victim certainly had a full shop, it would appear. And then we have another print.
This one was taken about 2 hours after the incident. I see. So we have 2 pictures to compare. I must say, placing them side by side leaves me cold. Dear me, that's starting to make my head ache. Obviously, Scotland Yard would consider theft as one of the possible motives of the case. We explored the possibility that something had been taken in addition to the victim's life. So your men have already compared these 2 prints thoroughly, Inspector? Yes, sir. We counted every single item in each of these 2 photographic prints. And the odds conclusive, not exactly the same numbers presented in both.
In other words, nothing was taken from the pawnbrokery on the night in question. And my learned friend's assertion is nothing more than a hopeful fantasy.
I don't believe it. If I could have just shown that he'd stolen McGilded's pawn box. I might be able to break him down at last.
You know what, Runo? I've been thinking. I wonder if these 2 photographs really are exactly the same.
What?
So, counsel, in the light of the evidence put forward, what is your position? It seems that in fact on the night in question nothing was stolen from the victim's establishment. Do you accept the prosecution's assertion?
I don't know. Could there be some hidden discrepancy between these 2 photographic prints somewhere? Yes. I think that there is a discrepancy. Now just to see where it might be. I wasn't sure at first, but there is a clear discrepancy between these 2. Sorry, I was doing the eyeball thing. I was like, I need to cross my eyes a bit. What?
You must identify the location in question of the court, Professor.
The discrepancy. Let's see. Let me get my eyeballs, like, situated. 'Cause part of me is thinking it might be this, but... Let's see, it's one of these 2. I'm thinking it might be here.
Take that!
Oh,
Objection!
I must thank my learned friend. His answer has clarified the situation greatly. There's a discrepancy between our respective powers of reason. Let me guess, my powers come up short. Oh yeah, it's the other one. Sorry. Oops. Okay. Let's see. It's subtle, but there's a difference. I know there is. Don't give up, you can do this. Alright, I know what it is. I know what it is. Point out the discrepancy. Oh, I see it! I fucking see it! Sorry. Oh, fuck. I thought it was one of these 2, but it's actually this. These guys. This son of a bitch. I can't believe it.
Take that!
Granted, these 2 prints are almost identical. However, there's one minor discrepancy between them.
What?
When you view the two pictures stereoscopically, a single area stands out from being different. The location of this small box.
Let me guess. Wait. Unbelievable. Are you seeing this shit? Because I'm certainly seeing this.
By Jove, you're right. How extraordinary.
What this tells us is very simple. Mr. McGilded's small box is indeed not stolen from the windbanks on the night in question. However, there can be no doubt that somebody picked up this particular box and then returned it to its place on the shelves.
Are you suggesting the small box originally deposited from Mr. McGilded is in fact...
Yes, the very same small box I just identified in those photographic prints.
Objection!
Mindless guesswork. What if it was?
So a box was moved on a shelf. Nothing was stolen. Which means, quite simply, that nothing has changed. That may be true, but... Alright, Mr. McGilded's box wasn't stolen then. But it doesn't. The fact that it moves... Doesn't the fact that it was moved like that change things? It changes everything. I believe this changes everything about the case.
How can that possibly be?
The crucial point is the fact that what was moved was a small box. In other words, we have to consider what might have been inside of the box. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting we need to examine the box. And then the cup in the lot. hello. I am Super Mew 95. How's it going? How is it doing? I am an Ace Attorney. Heck yes. I wound up. What's it called? I'm pretty far into what's it called? This chapter 5. What pronouns do you use? I want to make sure you are a winning son joke. My pronouns are he/they. Like, I feel like I kind of go by he, but I feel like if anyone used they, I would be really happy about it. But I'm good with he. I'm good with the winning son. I am winning. I'm kind of winning. I got like 1 strike on like this particular section of the chapter. I got 3 strikes on the last one. Like, I have a few flub ups here and there, but the flubbing is what makes it fun. I'm suggesting we need to examine the box as soon as possible. That vital piece of evidence is sitting on the shelves at the Windibanks as we speak.
Objection!
That won't be necessary. Some little box belonging to a man who died 2 months ago can't possibly be relevant to this trial.
This is why you should always use a walkthrough. I do kind of use a walkthrough, but I feel like sometimes the streams end up crossing. Or I jump the gun and I try to present evidence that isn't quite ready to be presented just because I'm like, I know this happens, I know this case, I know that this should be the item I chose. And it's like, no, you have to give it a little examine first. You gotta prod them a little bit before you can present that. Before they're emotionally ready to handle.
The court does not uphold your objection, Lord Van Zeeks. Shut your face, shut your face, shut your face. Bailiff, arrange for the officer to go to Baker Street at once. Obtain the small box in question and bring it back here for further examination.
Shocking for my extreme Ashley simping, I am here. I have a stupid question. What is your question? I would be happy to hear. Do you have a Tumblr? Yes, I do. It is kind of the same name. I have it under Rachna, it's like minus sign. Roka. I would be happy to be mutuals. Let me see. My main has cats. I also follow a ton of weird, I guess, what's it called? I follow a ton of weird video game ones. So usually I have like low poly, like, what's it called? I think I found you. Let's see. Oh, I see them. Oh, these are really cute cats. I have a cat myself. She's like a black cat named Prudence. She's so adorable. I love her so much. So definitely a cat person.
We should have a report within half an hour. I think perhaps we should recess for a short time while the evidence is brought forward.
I have a Void too and a rotisserie chick. I have a Twitter account, but I have like a Twitter and a Tumblr that I usually have. Oh, a Void too. Oh, a Void. Oh, a black cat. Yeah. And a rotisserie chicken. I guess that's like a, what's it called? What's it called? Calico? Not a calico, like an orange, like a tabby. Yes. Yeah, Twitter's kind of gotten really disappointing. I feel like I should probably stop using it at some point, but I still just kind of use it out of impulse. So it's usually between there and Tumblr I usually do.
To be hoodwinked by such a farce. Disappointing.
I beg your pardon, Lord Fanseeks.
This is nothing but a smokescreen. A Japanese specialty, it would seem.
Why? I say, what are you trying to say? How much more racism could you throw at me?
My learned friend has persisted with the same line of reasoning from the very beginning.
Oh, I love these little guys. Oh, this little black cat. Sorry, it just reminds me of like little baby. I'm like, I need to see these. Oh. I also love the little one at the bottom. What's it called? I used to have a white cat. Lived with my parents, but we used to have like a ton of cats. They have an older brother named Walmart Luigi Walter the Fourth Esquire. I love that. It's such a good name. Especially for like a little baby cat.
My learned friend is oh, I already read that. That this witness's intent was to steal an article belonging to McGilded's from the pawnbrokery. Yet common sense tells us that none of the articles are valuable enough to be worth stealing in the first place.
Oh no. Nice.
Exactly. It would be beyond absurd to break into a place for the purpose of stealing such commonplace property.
Do I like Digimon? I feel like I'm still a novice to Digimon. I do have like some of the games like that I got, but like I recently got introduced to a lot of Digimon by like Amana. So Amana was like the expert. Oh, Survive. I feel like I need to play Survive. I have I think it was like the Cyber Sleuth one. Yay. Play Survive, play it. I need to get to it. These Twitter were freaking the internet's. Fun fact that I was banned 3 times for inciting violence, KYS, and telling racist people to KYS. Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where Twitter just brings out a lot of like aggressiveness in people. Cyber Sleuth, play FMC. I'll have to see what that's like. Only because the game still thinks you're a boy. Oh yeah, I guess what's it called? It's one of those things where you're able to have like relationships with, I guess probably if there's a girl that likes you, like the game is still going to treat a girl like they're, I guess, the guy character regardless. So the girl's going to have, I guess probably like, I guess WLW relationships or I guess lesbian pairings and such. How do you talk to girls? And it's like, exactly. I heard that the second game also had like a lot of stuff, but that's more like MLM or like more like kind of like I'll get to reading.
If your lordship recalls, Mr. McGilded perished 2 months ago, immediately after the conclusion of this trial.
A trial in which he was found not guilty. A trial in which it was established he was an upstanding member of society. His reputation implied, in fact. So I propose a toast to my learned friend in his most insightful defense. The articles this upstanding member of society pawned were merely ordinary. A black overcoat that just happened to have a music box disc in one of the pockets, and a small box. I assure you, I wouldn't accept even if the man tried to make a gift of such things to me.
You know, that does rather make a lot of sense.
It's not as if the gold are Jews, isn't it?
Oh, goodness knows, Mr. Gilded was rich enough. But you can deposit cash in the... The prosecution's argument is undeniably compelling.
It is incumbent on the defense now to bolster its argument. To explain what possible significance these commonplace articles pawned by this fine citizen could have.
Well, counsel, your argument's in fact demonstrable. Are you able to show proof that the disc and the box are any tangible way of relating to this?
Well,
What's the matter, Runo? We all know they're related, don't we? They're both vital pieces of evidence.
yes, of course. You and I both know that. We know Mr. McGilda's true character, and we know the disc is significant, even if we don't know why. But if we explain that all to court at once, we'll have to acknowledge that McGilded's acquittal 2 months ago was a mistake, and that the defense argument was flawed, based off false information.
Oh no.
And that would mean admitting that Gina committed perjury.
But Ginny...
Could it be that Van Zeek's knows? Is that why he's doing this now? Because he's anticipated everything?
But maybe. This could be a great opportunity for us.
Sorry, what do you mean, Iris?
Well, what is it you always say, Bruno? Sooner or later, the truth comes out. Every time.
Alright. The exact significance of the things McGilda deposited with Mr. Windibank is something that only Gina can explain in court. But if I put her on the stand to testify about that, it could critically damage our chances of winning this. What's the right thing to do here? We need to have you testify. The Skulkins and Ashley have done so much perjury, and then Gina does it. It's trouble. That sounds like that is misogyny to me. How many times have I been able to like cross-examine these people, and Van Zeeks is like, "Oh, but the lies are quite nice." Well, that goth orange cat doesn't understand Windows. Just looks outside and is very like startled by everything. That sounds like so much fun. My lord, the defense would like to make a proposal. Oh, what proposal?
What proposal, counsel?
While the court awaits the arrival of Mr. McGilded's small box, I would like to call the defendant, Miss Lestrade, to the stand.
The defendant? To what end?
It's to do with various articles deposited at Windibanks by Mr. McGilded, my lord. Miss Lestrade has information relating to them. I believe it would be beneficial for the court to hear what she has to say. My fight Van Zeeks at 3 a.m. Can I knock on his door until he wakes up and then run away? So that he doesn't know it's me, but he's still angry that he woke up anyway. It will prove the significance of the articles in question once and for all. Name your location. Well, things have become rather interesting. I presume you considered the implications of the testimony you're proposing. You're going to be doing a ding-dong dash. You're gonna be fighting me at the Denny's parking lot. What's a Denny's? My learned Japanese friend, of course you wouldn't know what a Denny's is at the moment. They serve pancakes and eggs. That's crazy. In my Denny's, they serve, like, Hamburg steaks. There's exclusive items at yours! Forgive me, but I'm about to throw this hollow chalice! In particular, the fact that you will have on the accused stand and indeed your own. I have.
Lord Van Zeeks, would you care to explain the last remark?
The prosecution accepts the defense's proposal. I move to interrupt the cross-examination of the current witness and hear from the accused herself.
Very well, if you have no objection. So the court will now hear testimony of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. Your witness currently in the stand may step down until further notice.
Then I shall bid you good day. Wait. You, sir, shall remain in the stand while Miss Lestrade testifies. As you wish. Alright then. Gina, it's time. My IHOP has the eggs Benedict. Photoshop Ashley's face. I saw it on the window. That's so funny. I wonder if, like, anyone's ever tried to make that connection. Or tried to, like, be like, In Cyber Sleuth, you're the main character, but you aren't the main character. I think maybe I should play that. I know on Sunday I was thinking of playing, like, 50 other games. I was like, what should I play? It was, like, between, like, I think FF14 and, like, Monster Hunter. But, like, I feel like I might expedite, like, Cyber Sleuth if, like, that winds up being something, like, interesting to tinker with. No, the actual main character is no cute. I know this will be hard, but please, put your faith in me here. It's really Omnom by accident. Omnimon. Good luck, Runo. The articles that Mr. McGilda had deposited into Windibank's pawnbrokery. Try new eggs Benedict. Photo of Benedict with Ashley's face covering each egg. The game appears when that happens. The game peaks when that happens. Oh man, I have to see that. Are intimately related with the omnibus case. The trial in which was heard in the courtroom 2 months ago.
Yes, and I remember this young lady being brought before me in trial as well.
That's right, my lord. Her testimony helped to establish the innocence of the defendant, Mr. McGilden. The omnibus case was intriguing, to say the least. So remember you were bald. And now here we are again, the same players in that trial face each other once more. A twist of fate, perhaps, my Japanese friend. Allow me to recap the events of 2 months ago. Your Honor, I was dreaming that. Your Honor, that was just a goof. It was fun. The old brickmaker was stabbed to death in the omnibus running alongside London's winter streets. Apart from the victim, there was only one other person in the carriage, Mr. McGilden. Are you sworn that I could have sworn you had a banjo? Me? Who would have thought? The hell is a banjo? Have you not heard of American instruments? Naturally, he was a prime suspect for the murder. But as the trial progressed, another possibility emerged. That the murder, in fact, took place above the defendant's head on the roof deck, with the body then being dropped through the skylight in the carriage below. It was Miss Lestrade whose testimony brought that possibility to light. At the time of the incident, Miss Lestrade was concealed under the seat in the carriage, hoping to pick the pockets of unsuspecting passengers. Then, immediately after the trial having been acquitted of murder, Mr. McGilda died in this very courtroom in the most extraordinary of circumstances. A mystery that remains unsolved even now, 2 months on. As indeed does the omnibus murder itself.
Be that as it may, I recall neither the disc nor the small box being mentioned in the course of those proceedings.
Miss Lestrade, would you tell the court now, please, what really happened in the omnibus 2 months ago? I mean, I know what you mean. I already said all what I know. And what about everything you told us yesterday from inside your prison cell? Oh, you done goofed. Please, Miss Lestrade, this is extremely important. Remember, little girl, if it transpires that you willingly withheld information in the trial 2 months ago, the Home Office will seek to prosecute you for perjury. And naturally, you will lose all credibility as a witness. Although, let's face facts, you have little credibility to lose. Question, are you secretly 2 sentient hamsters in a trench coat? Huh? This is one of those trickery things you are known for. What do you mean?
Ginny, don't listen to him. Please, you have to trust Bruno now.
No, Ryu was a mouse. What if Ryu was a mouse and he really liked cheese and all of his all of his defense attorney stuff was all for the purpose of wanting a small piece of cheese for his troubles?
Iris, we're on your side.
Why is there a toddler? Why is Vincent Adult Man actually like Ryunosuke? Did he come to this country to do a business?
Alright then, I'll talk.
It's the right choice, Gina.
Well, it would seem that my learned friend is hellbent on bringing the entire courtroom down about his ears. So be it.
Ryunosuke lore.
I must confess I'm struggling to understand what the fuck is happening. However, it would appear Mr. McGilda's Pond articles in that extraordinary case on the omnibus harbor secrets of which we have hitherto unaware. So, Miss Lestrade, you will give your testimony before the court about the evidence of 2 months ago. You will reveal the truth, the commodity sorely lacking in your original statements.
This is it then. Everything's gonna come out, like Van Zeke said. This could bring the whole courtroom down about my ears, but as a lawyer, I'm prepared to take that risk. Truth is, that brickmaker cove was in the cabin, the omnibus, the whole time. But showing the line of dialogue that Rita was a mouse coded, saying in the second game and giving context be spoilers. It might be. I guess probably it would just be the idea of like trying to discover it at some point. Or I might just stumble into it, maybe. But yay. When the Irishman dragged me out under the sea, I saw the disc on the floor. All of a sudden, I heard a scream from over me head, and the power on the roof deck went off with colder slops. That's when McGill did slip the driver some tin to do a run at the pond, Brock Shope about it. He threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing to no one about what I've seen ahead.
Good grief, that is outrageous. What you just told the court bears almost no resemblance to your testimony 2 months ago.
As you say, my lord.
Then there's every chance I may have adjudicated an error in Mr. McGilda's trial sounds very much to me that if the man deliberately deceived this court in effort to cover up the most wicked of schemes.
Without a doubt, your lordship is correct. A great injustice was done in this court 2 months ago. Inaction of the accused in that trial, of this witness, and of my learned friend are entirely inexcusable.
I don't believe it. The whole trial was a farce. It was all lies. The gilded fellow was rotten to the core, just like the pickpocket. Don't forget the lawyer in the East. They were all in it together.
You're wrong, the lawyer. Mr. Naruto, the lawyer there, he didn't know nothing about it. Humbug! I don't think so. Are we really expected to believe in that?
He really stitched us up, didn't he? Or an operation to get the man off scot-free.
Just like Baroque's grandfather, ass kissers.
Unforgivable, stop. The lies have to stop. Stop.
Yes, the defense made a terrible error of judgment. I intend to take full responsibility and suffer whatever consequences are deemed inappropriate. However, it's imperative that the court allows the witness to elaborate on her testimony, because the true significance of McGilded's Pond articles must be brought to light. Very well, my learned student friend. Given the depths of calamity you've just plunged yourself into, this may very well be worth hearing. Jerfor, where am I? What was this stuff about McGilded?
It's totally deplorable, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, my lord.
I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial.
Of course, my lord.
Lie me, Mr. Naruhodo. Now, counsel, proceed with the cross-examination. Ah, jeez, when is the unlimited breadsticks going to come out? I've already eaten enough soup and salad this morning. I really could use a little bit of bread. When I'm there, I'm family, but all these people don't look like my family.
The brickmaker is in the cabin the whole time. Dragged me out, saw the disc. All of a sudden, heard a scream. That's when McGilded slipped the driver some tin. Maybe this one. The pawn shop obviously being Windibank's.
Just a moment, counsel. Do you mean to tell me that the driver gave false testimony in that trial as well?
Perhaps the excursion in the pawnbrokery slipped his mind when he took the stand. You should look up Punimon because I love him. Let's see. Punimon.
Indeed, Lord Vensix.
McGilded took off his coat and handed it to the driver. He folded it all carefully, like, before I handed it over. I saw him do it. I remember thinking, that coat and what's in it ought to be worth a few bob. Oh, Punimon's really adorable. Look at this little Bob guy. I love his little eyes. It's so adorable. Yes, Gina was sure the disc would be more than Windibank's. I remember quibbling with him over the price that afternoon in the pawnbrokery. What has he seen? What has he been through? The driver looked pretty happy when McGilded flashed his brass in his face. He didn't run it off in a lick. And the guy called to me and told me to come out the drag's cabin. Threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing. Agumon. I feel like Agumon is what I'm kind of familiar with, because I've seen like at least like a couple episodes of the first Digimon, but also what's it called? I've seen the first episode, a couple episodes of the OG, but I've also seen like a ton of like I think the reboot, not the reboot movies, but the sequel movies on like, I think it was on Pluto TV a lot. Like, it came on so many times that I was just like, I think I might just catch this whenever. I watched it up sequence, but like, I got really familiar with like Agumon. Well, the old T-Rex guy. Threatened you how exactly? Told me I don't be able to Scappa if I did exactly what he said. Oh, these guys are talking. Ooh, these guys are talking. Let me see. What are you guys saying? Is there something you'd like to share with the courtroom, Inspector Gregson and Graydon? They're gay, Your Honor. Your Honor, I think they're hiding something because they're hiding an illicit relationship with one another. It's a Lupin and Zenigata sort of thing. I get it. I understand where we're coming from. Inspector! Mr. Graydon!
Well, relax! Blimey, you're trying to give me a heart attack!
You've been whispering to each other for quite some time now. No, Gregson is not the Greykeel. There's already 4 other guys. It's like, Gregson, get out of here. You're not cool enough to be in the Greykeel. Get a spray bottle. No, no. Tell us, what is this the discussion about?
Discussion? With this fella? Pull the other one, sunshine. You think I got anything to talk with about a shady gent like this?
And I have nothing to say to this uncouth detective after he deprived me of that disc that is rightfully mine. Stop being gay, that's my job. Whenever I'm thinking about Kazuma. Man, I guess within a half hour I'll probably call it quits, but we are gonna keep going at least for some time. At least within that half hour. They've been clearly talking the entire time I've been cross-examining Gina. Ashley, Soseki, Lady First, and the 3 other guys. Oh no, I still have like a half hour going. I usually either do it until 8 or 8:30, usually 8:30. I have just enough energy for just like the next half hour, and then I'm going to be completely pooped. It's as if they've been negotiating.
You will kindly refrain from talking amongst yourselves while the witness is giving testimony. That is really rude of you two. Yes, I'm sorry, my lord.
What were those 2 talking about?
Miss Lestrade, continue with your testimony.
I should know my cat saw me. Put his paw to shut me up twice. Oh no. I always hate that one. Like, I put my cat. I try to like almost be like, just kind of put my. I get close to the cat, and my cat just like puts her like paw up at me, like, no. It's like, no affection, and it's like, oh, okay, I see. I see when you're not interested. You try to kiss her forehead, and she's just like, paw, like, no, now is not the time. Well done, Gina.
Ginny's really put her faith in you, Bruno.
Yes, thanks to her, she'll have to face a charge of perjury. So, I need to use this to get as much information as possible.
It's time to really go for it. Press her on every statement.
Alright, let's press every statement.
Hold it!
And you were hiding in the cabin at the time as well, weren't you, Miss Lestrade? If I remember rightly, in the storage compartment underneath one of the seats. Yes, that's right. It's pitch black under there, so you can't see nothing at all.
Now, in your testimony 2 months ago, I feel certain that you claim Mr. McGilded was the sole passenger, did you not?
False testimony, my lord. That's what he told me I had to say. But it's important that you tell us the truth now. Were Mr. McGild and the victim's acquaintances? No, I know. But I did hear him talking a lot. What were they talking about? Well, I couldn't hear too well, but if I had to say, I think it was about money or something. They kept talking about buying and not buying.
Perhaps business dealings of some kind.
But anyway, they got louder and louder. It started to sound like a proper fight. Describe like gossiping frivolous drama. Hot pink wears glitter, tacky lip gloss with a strawberry scent. I can only describe. I feel like that's definitely something that like I've gotten like used to as I started writing. I was pretty scared by then. I hardly dared to breathe. And all of a sudden, I heard a noise like someone's keeling over on the floor. It was blooming loud and all.
I believe you let out an involuntary scream.
Yeah, and that's what gave me away. An Irishman dragged me out.
Hold it!
Was the disc you saw this disc? Yeah, I reckon it probably was. It was right next to the cove lying on the floor. Open a window to get a scary bug. Recently, I guess what I've been doing like quite a bit is like helping my cat out. So sometimes when she sees a bug and it's flying around, sometimes I'll kind of like carry her and like pilot her like a Gundam. Like I just have her play Armored Core 6 with like, I guess whatever like fly that she's trying to catch. So that was it called. I can help her like with the hunt.
Could this discus belong to the victim, perhaps?
I know, but Mr. McGilded picked it up pretty smartish. And then sat in the cove with me knife in the belly. Oh, it was a mosquito, that's different. Usually when it comes to like the bugs I have, it's usually just like flies, so it's a little easier to like guide her towards it. But mosquitoes are little tricky bastards. There's no way I could have been able to catch it. Or been able to catch it. I think that probably by that point I would probably have to like tell my cat, or I just encourage my cat to not pursue it. He's at the cove with the knife in his belly up in the seat. What did he say to you at the time? He told me not to say a word about what I seen or heard to no one. But the disc and all. Well, I was dead scared. The way he looked at me, I thought, if I didn't go along with it, I'd get stuck with that knife too. You love to bully cockroaches, it's hilarious. I feel like there's been like a few times that like a roach has come that Prue's played with, but I feel like it's the misfortune of lizards. Like my cat kills so many lizards and tortures them, it's so disgusting. I try to save as many lizards as I can, but sometimes it's really hard when like she already does a number on them. They start asking me a load of questions, like what my name was and where I lived and that. He asked me about being a diver too. But after a while, what had happened in the carriage was noticed. Yeah, that's right. Guess there was a kind of rapping noise. All of a sudden I heard a scream from over me. It was, Mr. First. He somehow was able to rap the entirety of Rap God, and the Busta Rhymes part of Look at Me Now. It was quite impressive, though he really shouldn't have said those lines in Look at Me Now. There were two gentlemen occupying the streets on the roof deck, I believe. That's right. They must have looked down from the skylight and noticed the cove with him, knife in his guts. And they screamed, the driver pulled up in horses, and McGilded got me out of sight.
Out of sight? Where?
Back under the seat where I started off. Once the carriage came to a halt, the two ghosts from the roof ran off to fetch the slops. If they immediately went to fetch the police, it would appear they were entirely unrelated to the incident. So that left McGilded the driver, and you still at the scene. Yeah, only the driver didn't know I was there because I was under the seat. I had the cabin open and a voice from outside.
The driver, yes. He also testified in the trial, I believe. A fellow who went by the name of Buka de Beppo, if memory serves right.
What did the Mr. McGilden and the driver say to each other?
I don't know what happened and stuff like that, mainly.
That's when Mr. McGilden slipped the driver, went into the pawn shop. Let's see, is this something where I could skip yes? I gotta go, but be safe. All right, I'll see you. I'm probably not gonna be too much longer. So, what's it called? I will be able. I'm pretty sure there won't be too much you miss if I do something. I guess do a little extra something at the moment. Be safe. I will be safe. No worries. Maybe I think Sunday I might try to see if I could play something, I guess, interesting or something different on Sunday morning. Go to get a bed a decent hour, of course, definitely. Make sure you rest up easy and make sure you have a good night. Threaten me not to snitch. Oh, my jeez. Well done, Gina. Press every statement. I think it was the last one I didn't press to its entirety.
Hold it!
Let's see, exactly how much. We'd be able to scoff if I didn't do what I said.
Which included giving false testimony in a court 2 months ago.
Yeah, that's it. And there was one other thing he said.
Which was?
He told me I have to hang on to the ticket from the pawn shop. Make sure not to lose it. Juror not. For number 2. I bet Ashley and juror number 4 would share so much workplace gossip about through Morse code. I imagine they would probably be really good friends if like they know each other just enough.
The ticket. Well, I never.
Said if I didn't show up and get the ticket off me before 2 months passed, I'd go to the pawn shop, pay the money to keep it in the lug, to stop it from being forfeited. He left me with some brass to pay for it.
But really, why on earth would Mr. McGilden have done such a thing? Depositing his overcoat at the pawnbroker before the arrival of the police. It makes no sense.
There would seem to be only one logical explanation, my lord. What Mr. McGilden had driver deposit at the Windibanks was something he didn't want the police to see. Something very important that he needed to hide at all costs. Anyway, after that he let me go. So I legged up before the coppers showed up.
Thank you, Miss Lestrade. Thank you, Counsel. I've heard enough. I believe we now have reasonable understanding of what actually transpired in the omnibus.
It would appear on that night 2 months ago, a negotiation was taking place on the omnibus. A negotiation considering this disc. However, matters did not run smoothly. When the parties involved began to quarrel over price, McGilden took what he wanted by force, at the expense of the other man's life.
Which proves my point. The disc is clearly extremely valuable in some way. Although I don't understand why as of yet.
And 2 days before, precisely 2 months after the omnibus incident, McGilden's coat and its contents were due to be forfeited.
I didn't know what I should do with the ticket. I mean, the Curve died right after his trial. I knew that.
So you decided you would try to claim the articles as your own.
Well, why not, eh? They're only going to be forfeited. Why should I have gotten them? Anyway, can't blame me for thinking about it. Thinking ain't no crime.
Miss Lestrade, it would appear Mr. McGilden was prepared to kill in order to take possession of this disc. Do you know why that would be?
I got a clue. But I reckon it must be worth a fair bit of brass. It's probably gonna sell it. And you can't blame me for thinking that. Thinking ain't no crime.
My lord. The evidence of your lordship requests that it be provided and ready for the court inspection, sir.
What must this be? The mysterious little box, deposited by McGilded 2 months ago. There's no doubt in my mind that a key piece of evidence in this far-reaching trial to be continued. Oh my. I guess this would be a good time to close up. To save progress. Let us save that progress. Let's get that progress going. Gotta make sure that I get that all settled beforehand. Remove. And then get that pause button. Oh shit. Next time around, we're going to be focusing on this, in this here article in question. So I guess I'll be exiting the game. Save the progress, definitely. Double save, triple save, quadruple save. But thank you all so much for coming along. It's so awesome to be able to come back in and be able to do all this stuff and be able to read a lot of it. I think maybe I might be really close to finishing it soon. It'll be really exciting to see how it goes. I think that it's going to be something where I really look forward to being able to not only get a little further into this, but also be able to check out that part too, because I heard that game was supposed to be really awesome. Or I feel like I remember hearing the second part was going to be really good. So I would like to thank everybody beforehand. Thank everybody for coming along. Before that, I'm going to poke my enchanted beauty mark, poke the mic, and send you all off on a very positive and high note. Give you all good vibes, good feelings. It's all about getting ready for that next stream, and there is plenty of people to watch streaming. But until next time, I'll see ya. Until this Sunday, bye.